Today we're back in the Vacuous green lot and we're building the 6th apartment in this series. I took a bit of a break. By a bit, I mean a lot. And now I'm back and continuing this apartment complex. The Vacuous green apartment complex is in Del Sol Valley, and I love that the For Rent pack came out because this world needed apartments. I'm using the same build hack that I've used previously for this apartment complex, which is to have sample rooms in the basement that you copy and paste into each apartment just to make the building process a lot faster and to make sure that the apartments all look like they're in the same apartment complex. Since this is the 6th apartment that I'm building, my build speed has increased so dramatically, and I'm so happy that I started using this hack. It is a game changer. I 100% recommend. Usually I'll use this hack with just the bathrooms and the kitchen, but I'm also going to be doing it in the future with bedrooms because you do need a certain amount of space for bedrooms. Things can get a bit tricky when I'm like building and I don't account for enough space for maybe a bed and a dresser and a closet. The closets are the thing that I always forget, and it's like easy to forget because we don't have a lot of, like, in my opinion, we don't have a lot of closet stuff for The Sims. We have those pre-made closets like this one that I'm showing right now that came with Get Together, and that's it. And I really wish we had more of those like pre-made just drag and drop closets because they are so convenient for apartment builds, but they only come in about like 2 swatches for the larger size, and I really wish that they at least have 5 swatches, which, I mean, I say swatches, but variations, because each variation has several swatches. I made sure to add in a lot of minor details that are a little bit less consequential, but really make the build what it is. So adding in light switches, adding in the fire alarms, and adding in the thermostat from Seasons. Those little things that make actually playing in this build so much more worthwhile. Those little details may take a little bit extra time on my part, but they seriously enhance gameplay, so I always like to have it. And especially with the light switches that came out recently, I mean, I say recently, they came out like 6 months ago, but I'm obsessed with them because it just brings that little bit of reality into the game that is much needed. I knew that for this apartment I wanted to go with more high-end furniture, especially since this is a corner unit. I expect that it costs more than maybe one of the middle units of the apartment complex, and maybe the person who lives here has a bit more budget. Then I got to thinking, okay, what type of furniture would really shine in this unit? And of course, I love mid-century modern, so I went with warm tone mid-century modern theme with a little bit of, what do they call it? They call it contemporary or cosmo. No, it's contemporary. I thought it was Cosmolux for a second because I don't even know where they came up with that name, but yes, very contemporary, modern, and mid-century modern with a bit of vintage flair. I wanted to feel like you just walked into one of those like apartments that you see in a magazine. You know, I wanted to feel like, oh, okay, this somebody probably doesn't live here, this is staged. Just very beautiful, and also the warm tones making it super cozy and comforting. You may have noticed just now that I struggled a bit with that living room layout because I wanted to have symmetry with 2 couches and a coffee table in the middle. However, I couldn't find a coffee table in the style that I wanted, in the size that would make the room look proportional. So I ended up having 2 coffee tables line up right next to each other. And towards the end of the build, I decided to remove one of the coffee tables anyway because I needed to make more room for the record player so Sims can dance in front of it. The rest of the build really went by fast after that. That was my biggest hurdle, and then I was like, oh, okay, now I have the layout finished, I know exactly what the big items need to be in the room, and now it's just decorating, adding minor details like curtains and pet stuff and like little clock. And I love that clock, by the way. That Starburst clock is amazing. I want it in my own house so bad. Especially the gold tone one. Like, actually, I pretty much want everything that's in this apartment I'm not gonna lie. I tried to use as many art pieces as possible, especially ones that I don't usually use. That painting with the leaves in the bedroom especially is one that I never use. I also added a couple of decorations that I don't use as often that really go well in this build, like that plant on the dining room table. I'm obsessed with it in that spot. I've tried to use it a lot of times before and it just never worked out, but it just works so well in this. Originally, I wanted to add a built-in shelving unit at this entrance, but then I realized it would be a lot more practical, like, and kind of reflect real life if there was somewhere to sit and put your shoes on and take your shoes off. So that is what I ended up doing. As you can probably tell by the shoes, originally I planned to have a couple living here, and I thought it would be so cute if they have like photos on the wall together. So if you decide to download this lot and play with it and use the same household that I've created for this lot, or even if you use a completely new household, please take some photos, put them into that frame, and really make this feel lived in. That would make my day. I would love to see the photos that you take in that frame, and if you post it on social media, tag me. This lot like has so many downloads already on the gallery. It's kind of insane to me. But then I've seen like some of my gallery uploads have 1,000 downloads, and I'm like, wow, that's absolutely amazing. But anyway, I know somebody's gonna download this, and I really hope that when they do, they put their photos in. Right here, I'm finishing up the balcony. It is very simple. I did not really give much thought to this balcony because I already knew exactly what I wanted in it, and I mainly just focused on what is on the interior. Also, can we just take a moment to appreciate these little candles, which I assume would be scented if, you know, you could smell things in The Sims. I don't think I would want to smell things in The Sims though. I'll be honest, sometimes I've let my Sims go and they smell horrible. They've got freaking stinky animations coming off of them. Their house is a mess. I don't want to smell that. I really don't. But anyway, we're moving on. At this point, the rest of the house is pretty much done. I'm just adding some wall sconces throughout to brighten up areas that need to be brightened, and also to showcase those paintings and artwork. I've gotten into the habit of adding office areas into the bedroom and most of my apartments, and this apartment is no exception. I've also added this desk area with items from the Dream Home Decorator pack. I think it came together pretty nicely. Ever since those work from home careers came into the game, I've added more and more office areas to home builds, and it just makes it so much better. But one thing that I'm considering creating in the future is an office building, as well as some kind of like office parks for city areas or like suburban areas, and I'm so excited to like try that. It's going to be so much fun. I've seen other people do offices on the gallery, but they're very like small in comparison to what I'm thinking is like, I want a huge office area. I want to have a cafe. I want maybe even to have like some shops there, almost like a mall, but you know, it's more of like an office area with a couple shops rather than a shopping center. You know, I think that type of lot that could function as an office building would be like one of those community lots where a lot of people go, and then the shop functionality could happen with like the marketplace if you have a market version of it set up. Like I think I'm onto something. I'm gonna try it out, and then you guys can tell me if it was a hit or a miss. I've added a lot of rugs throughout this apartment because the floors in this complex are white and very cool tone, so it kind of clashes with the color theme of the furnishings. However, you know, that's an easy fix. You just put a bunch of rugs down. Maybe I'm gonna do some warm tone walls to really brighten and develop the color palette of this apartment. It's gonna be so much more cozy than like the stark white that's really like clinical and clean. You'll see. I think you'll like it. Also, can we just take a moment to appreciate this rug that I have in the hallway? It is so freaking pretty. It's one of those rugs where if you place it in the wrong build, it's gonna look tacky as hell. But in this build, it looks awesome. I don't know any other build that would make this look good. I also ended up adding very, very red walls, which again wouldn't work in most builds, but this apartment needs that color palette to really pop. I wouldn't have it any other way, honestly. I usually never do red walls in an apartment because it not only makes the space feel smaller, but it also ends up making the space feel too intense. That red brings emotions of not only passion, but anger and negative feelings. So I don't think it's really appropriate for a cozy and comfortable home in most cases. This is the first time I've ever used the red color in an apartment, and I felt like it works so well. So yeah, I'm very satisfied with that. And this build is coming to a close, so we're gonna go ahead and show off the final results. If you like this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for hanging out with me. Bye.